The email arrived while I was in Tokyo, finalizing a deal that would change everything. I almost dropped my phone when I saw the subject line. The house is sold. I'm Sophia Mitchell, and at 32, I had spent the last decade building something my parents never believed in, a global tech consulting empire. But right now, staring at my mother's email, none of that mattered. The house they had just sold, it was mine, or at least it was supposed to be. We got a great offer, much better than that little down payment you made. My mother's words glowed smugly on the screen. We've already signed the papers. It's done. My hands trembled as I read further. The house I had spent 5 years paying the mortgage on, the one my parents had insisted on keeping in their name just until you're more established, was gone. They had sold it right from under me, while I was overseas closing the biggest deal of my career. I excused myself from the meeting, ignoring the concerned looks from my Japanese partners. In the hallway of the Tokyo high-rise, I called home. "Oh, Sophia." My mother's voice dripped with fake sweetness. "Did you get our email? Wasn't that wonderful news?" "Mom, that was my house." I managed to keep my voice steady. "I've been paying the mortgage for 5 years." "Don't be dramatic." She dismissed my concern with practiced ease. "Your father and I needed the money for the company. Morris Tech isn't doing as well as we'd hoped. Besides, you're never even there, always flying around the world with your little consulting business." Little consulting business. If only they knew. "Where am I supposed to live?" I asked, though I already knew their answer. "You can stay in your old room," Mom chirped. "It'll be just like when you were in high school. Remember how nice that was?" Nice wasn't the word I'd use. I remembered the constant criticism, the comparisons to my successful older brother Michael, who now worked as CFO at our parents' company. The same company that was apparently struggling enough to justify selling my house. "I have to go, Mom. I'm in the middle of something." I hung up before she could respond. Back in the conference room, I looked at the contract spread before me. The irony wasn't lost on me. While my parents were selling my house to save their failing tech company, I was here in Tokyo, secretly orchestrating the biggest corporate takeover of my career. You see, Morris Tech, my parents' pride and joy, wasn't just struggling, it was drowning. And I knew exactly why. For the past year, through a series of shell companies and strategic investments, I had been systematically acquiring their debt, positioning myself for this very moment. They thought I was running a little consulting business. In reality, I was the CEO of Phoenix Global, one of the largest tech consulting and acquisition firms in Asia. We specialized in turning around failing companies or dismantling them, depending on the situation. My phone buzzed again. A text from Michael. "Mom told you about the house?" "Sorry, sis, but business is business." Business is business. How many times had they used that phrase to justify their actions? When they refused to help with my college tuition because they were investing in the company. When they borrowed money from my savings account without asking because the company needed it. I texted back a simple "OK" and turned to Mr. Tanaka, my Japanese partner. "The contracts are ready." I asked in fluent Japanese, another skill my parents never knew I possessed. He nodded, sliding a folder across the table. "Everything is in place, Mitchell-san. Morris Tech won't know what hit them." I signed the final papers, sealing not just this deal, but my parents' fate. In less than 2 months, I would own controlling interest in Morris Tech, the company they had prioritized over everything. Over my education, my stability, and now my home would be mine. "Book me a flight home," I told my assistant. "It's time to pay my parents a visit." The next few weeks passed in a blur of legal documents and strategic meetings. I moved into a luxury hotel suite, refusing my mother's offers to come home. Every call from them went unanswered, every email unread. Let them think I was upset about the house. Let them think I was hiding in my little consulting business. They had no idea what was coming. The morning it all came together, I stood in front of my mirror, adjusting my blazer. The woman staring back at me wasn't the daughter they had dismissed for so many years. She was a CEO, a force to be reckoned with. And today, everyone would know it. I grabbed my briefcase, filled with the documents that would change everything, and headed to Morris Tech's headquarters. Time to show my parents exactly what their unsuccessful daughter had become. Walking into the building, I remembered all the times I visited as a child. Watching my father and brother strut around like kings while my mother simpered at their sides. The security guard nodded at me, He was already on Phoenix Global's payroll like many other key employees. The elevator ride to the executive floor felt endless. With each floor that passed, I thought about everything that had led to this moment. The years of dismissal, the constant undermining, the final betrayal with my house. All of it had brought me here. When the doors opened, I heard my mother's laugh echoing down the hallway. She was probably in the conference room, where the board was meeting to discuss the company's mysterious new majority shareholder. I took a deep breath and straightened my shoulders. It was time for the real Sophia Mitchell to introduce herself. I could hear voices from the conference room as I approached. My father's authoritative tone, my brother Michael's attempted reassurance, and my mother's nervous laughter. "This has to be a mistake," my father was saying. "Some anonymous company can't just buy controlling interest in Morris Tech. We built this company." "Dad, I've checked everything," Michael replied. "Phoenix Global owns 51% of our shares. They've bought up most of our debt too. We have to meet with their CEO today." "Well, whoever they are, will handle it," my mother added confidently. "We always do." I chose that moment to push open the conference room door. The entire board of directors turned to stare at me. My father's face darkened with annoyance. "Sophia, this is a private meeting. Whatever drama you're here about with the house can wait." I smiled, setting my briefcase on the polished table. "Actually, I'm right on time. The CEO of Phoenix Global is scheduled to meet with you at 10 a.m. My brother checked his watch, frowning. "Yes, but they're not here yet." "Actually, she is." I pulled out the contracts and documentation from my briefcase. "I'm here. I'm the CEO of Phoenix Global." The silence that followed was deafening. My mother's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. My father's face had gone completely white. "That's impossible," Michael stammered. "You run a small consulting firm." "You're not? You can't be." "Can't be what, Michael? Successful?" "A CEO. Too much of a disappointment to build something bigger than Morris Tech." I spread the documents across the table. "I think you'll find everything in order. My company now owns controlling interest in Morris Tech." My father lunged for the papers, his hands shaking as he read. "This is a joke. It has to be." "Like the joke of selling my house without my permission?" I kept my voice steady. "Or the joke of borrowing from my college fund without asking? Or maybe like the joke of telling everyone I was a failure while I was building a global empire?" "We needed that money for the company," my mother interjected weakly. "We were protecting our legacy." "Your legacy?" I laughed. "Look around, Mom. Your legacy is now my company. Phoenix Global specializes in restructuring failing businesses. And Morris Tech? It's been failing for years." "You can't do this to us," my father's voice cracked. "We're your parents. Business is business." I quoted their favorite phrase back to them. "Isn't that what you always said?" I turned to the board members, many of whom were trying to hide their smiles. They'd suffered under my family's mismanagement for years. "As of today, there will be changes. Michael, you're no longer CFO. Dad, you're stepping down as CEO. Mom, your position as VP of Public Relations is terminated. You're firing us?" Michael looked like he might faint. "Your own family?" I thought about all the times they'd chosen the company over me, all the dismissive comments, the stolen opportunities, the constant undermining. "No, I'm not firing you. I'm offering you exactly what you gave me. A chance to work your way up from the bottom." "Michael, there's an entry-level accounting position open." "Dad, we need someone in sales." "Mom, I hear the reception desk is available." My mother burst into tears. My father's face had turned from white to purple. "Or," I continued, "you can clean out your desks by the end of the day. Your choice." "You ungrateful," my father started, but I cut him off. "Careful, Dad. Remember who you're talking to. I'm not that little girl anymore. I'm your boss." I gathered my documents and headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and about my house, the one you sold. I bought the company that purchased it. The new deed will be in my name by tomorrow." The look on their faces was priceless. Years of dismissal, of being treated like a disappointment, of having my achievements minimized. All of it had led to this moment. "Board meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m., I announced. "Don't be late. Well, those of you who still have jobs." I smiled at my family. "The rest of you can pick up your personal items from security." As I walked out, my heels clicking on the marble floor, I heard my mother's sobs, my father's angry outburst, and my brother's stunned silence. But for the first time in my life, their reactions didn't matter. I had built something they never thought I could. I had succeeded beyond their wildest expectations, and most importantly, I had finally shown them exactly who I was, not the disappointment they'd labeled me as, but the powerhouse I'd become. My phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Tanaka in Tokyo. "Congratulations, Mitchell-san. How did it go?" I smiled, stepping into the elevator. Better than expected. Time to rebuild Morris Tech my way. The doors closed on my old life, opening to a future where I was no longer defined by my family's expectations. They had chosen the company over me countless times. Now they could watch as I transformed it into something they never could have built themselves. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's showing those who doubted you exactly what they failed to see. And as I walked out of Morris Tech's building, now mine, I knew I had done exactly that. The next morning, I sat in my father's old office, my office now, reading the local business news. The headline made me smile. Phoenix Global acquires Morris Tech. Unknown CEO reveals identity in shocking takeover. Unknown CEO. If only they knew how long I'd been planning this, building my empire in the shadows while my family underestimated me. But that was the thing about being underestimated. It gave you the perfect cover to strike when they least expected it. I picked up my phone and dialed my realtor. "Hi, I'd like to put my parents' house on the market." "Yes, the one they just sold." "Don't worry, I own it now." Sometimes karma comes in the form of a daughter they never believed in. And sometimes she comes with a corporate takeover they never saw coming.